wanted to share with you guys a tip that's kind of helped me in this process of regaining my strength and overall fitness, as well as performance oriented goals that I've accomplished this year. Like, for example, the 315 for 20 on the super squats, on the back squats, and also, um, the pause squat journey that I'm currently on, and some of the feats of strength that I hit last year that were like goals that I wanted to achieve, and I did. Like during the Bulgarian phase, when I did, the 450 squat, and last year when I did the 500-pound deadlift. Um, one key thing tip that I want to share with you guys, when you're in any sort of phase in your fitness journey, it doesn't really matter what your goals are. It could be even endurance and running related goals, right? I mean, who's to say, weight loss, etc., etc. Whatever your goals may be, one thing that you should do that'll help you out a lot is to stop comparing. Stop constantly comparing yourself to what others have achieved and stuff like that, and focus more on your own programming goals, so to speak. And that's not to say that I don't follow other YouTube channels of fitness, because I do. I mean, some of you guys, I watch you watch me, and stuff like that. I'm not really necessarily talking about like average fitness channels that I watch, but I'm talking about like, you'll see some of these guys that are getting in to lifting weights, and they'll compare themselves to like, elite powerlifters, strongmen, and bodybuilders. Like like, I remember back when Pete Rubish was in his prime, people were saying, oh, Pete Rubish, deadlifts 750 pounds and all that jazz. Well, odds are that person that's, following, those sorts of channels of the elite, the best of the best, thinking that they, that person's, deadlift of 500 is nothing because, Pete Rubish did a 750 for 2. Well, keep in mind that other person might have worked their ass off to get to that 500, but they don't quite have the genetics or, the performance enhancing drugs that a guy like Pete Rubish has. I mean, and that comes to anything when it comes to like athleticism in particular. Okay, it's terribly unhealthy to constantly compare yourself or to degrade somebody else because, oh, that guy, it'd be like talking about me during my singles, squat phase when I was doing powerlifting style reps. Now I'm doing pause reps, and I got, a product goal of hitting 405 for a 2-second pause, which there's nothing wrong. You should always have a product goal. I've told you guys that. It's important to have performance and, related goals and numbers that you want to hit in training. Definitely, without a doubt. But to always compare yourself to like an elite standard and say that like, or degrade somebody else that like, had put up a PR that they were really proud about, right? They really worked hard, and they're like, oh, that's nothing because, that guy that's the best in the world, can do, 300 more pounds or whatever. Look, odds are the average freaking lifter that works out for general strength, fitness, and health related goals does not have the genetics to achieve the shit that the elite best of the best do, with or without drugs. It's physique oriented goals too. Oh, your biceps aren't nothing because, Jay Cutler's are 22 and a half inches. Well, get the fuck out of my face with that shit. Everybody, let me just put it this way, not everybody has the genetics to reach, like, the elite, the best of the best. And there's nothing wrong with having high goals and high standards, which I promote. You gotta have goals, you gotta have standards. Just like my 305 bench, too, somebody could say, oh, that's nothing because, I know somebody that, look, I worked my ass off for that 305 bench, and I was proud of that 305 bench. Same with that 450 squat, that powerlifting style squat, and the 500-pound deadlift. And I'm going to be really, and the 315-20 on squats, and, I'm probably going to be really happy with, the 4 or 5 with the 2 second pause on the pause spot. I'm going to be happy with that freaking goal. And when I did the rep phase too, like last year with squats too, when I had like a 370 for 10 reps, I was happy with that. Just because there might be somebody else out there who's got a little bit better genetics, may have trained longer, might use performance enhancing drugs, did more weight, doesn't mean I should feel like shit because my goal, because my PR wasn't quite as good as somebody else's. And you gotta factor in, factor in various things too, leverages. Somebody might have a little bit better deadlifting leverages, arm length and stuff like that. So, I mean, you should never say like, oh, that's nothing because so-and-so, on YouTube, Larry Wheels or Pete Rubish did that. Comparing yourself to top 1% is foolish because most people don't have the genetics to reach that elite level, even if they did take performance enhancing drugs. Like there are, especially guys and girls too, right? I mean, there are people that use performance enhancing drugs that their lifts are shit. Okay, that's the honest truth. I mean, you can have bad genetics and drugs won't help you. So having genetics, I mean, and that goes for other sports too, basketball, being able to dunk a ball and stuff like that. But needless to say, I mean, it's just so unhealthy to constantly compare, right? And especially if you're on a weight loss journey too. I mean, you might have struggled with your weight longer and you knew somebody else that lost the weight faster. Well, their metabolism might be higher. There's various factors that come into play with any sort of product goal. So when it comes to, there's nothing wrong with maybe watching, having a little bit of comparison to maybe kind of inspire, but if you're, so constantly absorbed by comparing, maybe you should stop comparing and focus on your own programming because that's what's important and that's what's going to help you, reach whatever goals that you have that are on hand that, you worked your ass off to achieve. Not just, and that's the thing too, somebody can have, like I said, good genetics and not work as hard too. There's, various factors with that too, but just always, fitness isn't really about constantly comparing yourself to others at the end of the day. So take that bit of advice, hopefully it's helpful because there's a lot of people that, are so absorbed by certain stuff they see on the internet and and not everything you see on the internet's real too, just like the Bradley Castleberry thing with the fake weights and stuff like that. So I mean, you always gotta have, keep your head on your shoulders, be focused on your own goals. Be focused on what's achievable for you. And, just, make the fitness stuff happen. Don't, sit there, because if you have time to sit there and constantly compare, you're probably not getting the quality training that you should be getting, right? So, just take that bit of advice. I hope it's helpful. It's kind of like my Saturday tidbit. I gave one, I think, last Saturday too. So, kind of like my Saturday rant, tidbit, whatever, call it what you want. So, peace out, people. Have a great weekend. Take care. And like I said, shout out to all 104 subscribers. I never thought I'd have over 100 subscribers. So, take care and bless, and have a great weekend.